Hello and welcome back to Pass the Torch, Legacies in Jewelry. My name is Naja de Savandiest. This is the very first time that I have my actual podcast equipment set up in my brand new shop. I have been living off of the mini mic for a while, and as much as I love the convenience of the mini mic, there is something so substantial about having the actual podcasting mic, lights, and camera up that make me feel connected to the audience in a very regal way. So thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. My mind has been running a million miles an hour the last few weeks on what is mission critical. Mission critical has been the blaring alarm sounding in my mind. And I thought I would come on here for a minute and soundboard what exactly I've been thinking about, because I have identified that I am my own audience. And very often I find that the information that I share on this podcast that connects with people the most is the exact material that I wish I had 6 months ago, a year ago. And then it just so happens that many of you are in a similar situation to me where you are continually curious. I think that's the biggest gift that this career path has given me and many of you, is the opportunity to be lifelong learners. I am of the opinion that you don't ever achieve the level of mastery in jewelry. While I know that there are many people who are considered masters of the trade, I hope that I never call myself a quote unquote master, even in my 60s, 70s, 80s, because I always want to be in awe. I always want to be so curious about the way that this metal and these stones work together that I never feel like I have quote unquote achieved the final destination, if you will. So I have been on a ruthless, and I truly mean ruthless, path to eliminate anything that is not mission critical. So mission critical has been the forefront of my mind the last few weeks, that phrase. I am not participating in or giving my time or energy into anything that does not support my mission. Then I always get the question, what is my mission? Well, a mission statement is something that's very personal. So I'm not going to necessarily divulge the exact wording that I have established in my mind as to what my mission statement is. I actually have it written down at home because it is such an intimate, personal thing. But overwhelmingly, I think a version of the mission statement that I'm happy to share with the general public is that I hope to create a career that I can be a creative, and also as a result of that creativity, be able to offer financial prosperity to my family. That is a critical mission statement. And anything that doesn't allow me to support that statement gets nixed from my life. It doesn't happen. I don't say yes to it. The learning curve that so many entrepreneurs have to go on is learning when to say no. And I have been saying no to a lot of things, but I've also been saying yes to a lot of things. So I kind of want to talk about my experience and what I've been saying no to and what I've been saying yes to. I am now in a place where I have my own shop and my overhead is very limited. I'm very lucky to have that. I found a place where I could rent a studio space that was very much within the budget that I could allocate for a actual workshop space. I found a very secure, wonderful building with great staff, and it is well within my budget that I can cover from the jewelry that I make. My tools are paid off. The overwhelming amount of my tools have been either purchased, used, or accumulated over time when I could afford them. That was a really key element of my shop. I never wanted to be at the mercy of using someone else's tools. It was always mission critical for me to have my own shop and access to my own tools at any given time. Now is a great time for me to briefly interject about the sponsor of this podcast, Pepe Tools. Pepe stands for Precision Engineered Professional Equipment. The reason why I felt so comfortable bringing on Pepe Tools as the sponsor of this podcast is because I relied so heavily on Pepe Tools when I was just beginning to build my shop in the very first weeks and months. The first big purchase I ever made was my rolling mill, and it was a Pepe Tools rolling mill. And now 2 years later, it's still serving me, doing a fantastic job helping me hand fabricate. And so if you are just getting started or you are further along in your career, Pepe Tools is always a great resource. You can check them out at pepetools.com. I think I've hit a point where I have entered a new stratosphere in the sense that I still very much feel like a baby jeweler, but I really am doing this full time. It has completely consumed my life and I am loving it. I actually love going to work. I come to work 6 days a week, sometimes 7. And so for me to be in this space and feel creatively charged here is, again, mission critical. I have declined doing certain work that I don't feel supports my overall growth when it comes to going up against that mission statement that I told you guys a little bit ago about creating a career for myself that allows me to be creative and also offers financial prosperity for my family. I have given myself my time back by saying no to things like working as a sales associate. I was asked to go back to some sales positions for people who are very kind in thinking of me for some of the positions that they have asked. They've been really incredibly thoughtful. I know that sales is a skill of mine. I come from a sales background. So when I put the word out there, hey, I'm open to work, and someone comes back to me with a sales offer, I have to politely decline because that wasn't the work that I was referring to. I am open to doing B2B custom commissions. That is what I've been doing. I do a very small handful of repairs if they are local. I'm not open to doing large, massive ship in, ship out repairs. I've done handfuls of small batch repairs, depending on the metal. And I do a lot of B2B production for other small jewelers. That has allowed me to cover the costs of my life in this shop in addition to customs that I have. On top of that, I've also been doing some TA work, so teaching assistant for workshops and classes and stuff like that. So I'm divulging this information because I think it's really important for people when they see where you are to understand how you got there, because I think without divulging that, people just see me go from a basement into this big studio and they're like, what happened? Well, okay, there were a couple things that happened. I got some bigger commissions, which allowed me to reinvest back into my business, and my life changed. My family changed. I needed to change my housing location. So there were several different components in regards to why there was this big sudden shift and elevation in my career, but they all came at the right time, and I'm scaling as I grow. I'm hoping that I don't grow too fast. That's why I've said no to more accounts than I've said yes to. A lot of times people don't take the time to identify what their USP is, and USP is their unique selling position. So for me, artistically, I am really energized by hand fabrication work. It's why I don't particularly spend any time interviewing or talking to CAD designers on my podcast. It's not because I think that what they're producing is bad. It's just that it's not creatively engaging for me as an artist. When you think about where you want to be and how you want to get there, you always want to be surrounded by 5 people who are doing what you want to achieve. You are the product of the 5 closest people to you. And so I'm going to spend time interviewing and talking to and networking with people who have gone ahead of me and been successful in the avenue that I am hoping to be in. Again, I've ruffled a lot of feathers by declining or not investing in some CAD conversations simply because of that. Again, it's not a negative thing. It's simply that it doesn't align with my specific mission statement, and I'm not here to be everything for everyone. I want to go and talk to the best of the best in the avenue that they have achieved. So a couple ways that I've done that. One of the more recent courses that I've taken was a Instagram course with Katerina Perez. Why did I go with Katerina Perez? Because she is the absolute best. Our natural nature is to buy from people that we learn from. Education is one of the key elements to trust. And I learn a lot through Katerina. I'm part of her Katerina Club. I actively read Katerina's articles that she shares on that club weekly. She also has a calendar that I really appreciate and a lot of exclusive content that she publishes for people who are really deep diving into the nitty-gritty of the jewelry industry. And I trust her voice. I trust her taste because I've been following her for years and I know how successful she is at Instagram. And so when I projected my business and eventually getting to the point where I am selling on Instagram, I knew that I needed help to set myself up for success to do that. Katerina offers a Instagram selling course for jewelers. It's specifically curated for jewelers. And I looked at it. She has 3 tiers. She has the course, which you can purchase and take. She has the course with a community element, meaning that we have weekly meetings with other people taking the course and you can soundboard and ask her questions. And then she has a pro version where you get one-on-one coaching with her. I didn't do that one, but I did sign up for the middle option, which was the course in addition to the community component, which allowed me to soundboard, ask questions, and hear what other people were going through as they were setting up their Instagrams and their Instagram stores. Again, I'm being as transparent as I can with all of the courses and classes that I am taking because I am trying to show the exact roadmap as to how I eventually get there, because I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't built a business that I am yet hoping to build. And there's so much work that goes into it behind the scenes that people don't divulge. And for me, it's not even about achieving that ultimate goal. It's about enjoying the journey and the process and the learning of it all. And so that's why I'm having so much fun creating this podcast, because I am taking everyone with me through the journey, and there's relationship there, and there's accountability, and there's sustained communication in a way that I wouldn't otherwise be able to access because I am alone in this shop by myself. And when you're alone, it's much easier to soundboard with a trusted community than it is to figure every single little thing out by yourself. So I want to talk about the Carats and Conversion course because it really has helped me set up. And Katerina is a friend of the podcast. She has provided a code for anyone who is interested in using. And again, I purchased this class with my own money. I took the course. I really benefited from it. So I am giving an honest review and testimonial here about my experience going through. It is a multiple month course. We have a weekly meeting every Friday, and weekly you are assigned homework and tasks, and there's a discussion board and there's a chat where you can ask questions along with all the other people who are taking the course at the same time with you. And then there's also an alumni network. And the reason why I actually decided to take this course before I even ever launch on Instagram is because I wanted to have really good bones. Instagram has changed. Instagram is now your business card. And to build it well, you need certain blocks in place that operate as a strong foundation. Katerina is the most consistent person at Instagram I have ever experienced in my life. Now, granted, she also has a team of people that help her because she has grown, but she started out just herself working and trusting her taste. That has gotten her so far. She knew and understood jewelry, and she trusted her own taste to get her as far as she has gotten. So I actually have my little diploma here that I received at the end of my course. And what's really great too is, again, I haven't launched my business or jewelry platform yet. And so what's nice about Katerina's course is even though I already took it, I have a year to access it and refer back to. So there are certain things about the course, like certain homework assignments that I actually wasn't prepared to do because they were once a page has been evolved and established and people are ready to buy from you. I'm not ready to sell and people aren't ready to buy from me. So those are things that I will have to go back to and refer to when I am ready. Again, it's just identifying for you what moves the needle. I know how powerful Instagram can be, and so I wanted to make that investment so that I can build an Instagram that has the capacity to sustain volume. It's actually also the same thing as this podcast. You can only coach yourself as far as your own understanding. So I also invested in a coach for this podcast. I have taken this podcast, I believe, as far as I can without now getting some real help to elevate it, because I want this to be a good experience for you guys and a good experience for me. I'm telling a story here. I'm telling my own story. In my opinion, I'm telling one of the hardest stories to tell in jewelry, which is how to become a hand fabrication jeweler and to do it well. There is so much skill and passion and story that gets told at the bench quietly. What I am trying to do is tell it here and make it accessible to all. Whether you're just beginning and you're further behind than I am, or you're way more advanced and you've got 30, 40 years under your belt, this is such a special community of people who create with their hands. I absolutely, with every fiber of my being, cherish my job. I have so much joy coming into the shop every single day. It is a gift to be here. So again, when it comes to business, everybody needs a clarity statement. What does a clarity statement look like? Well, it looks like I help X do Y by Z. X is who, Y is the problem that you're solving, and Z is the how. I know that I eventually want to sell on Instagram. I don't know how to do that. I am limited by my own understanding of the platform. I went and got access to the person who I believe understands Instagram the best, and I got to learn from them. That to me has the ROI to qualify for the investment. And again, Katerina is a friend of this podcast. She was on a couple episodes ago. If you have not yet listened to that podcast, please do, because to connect with her and hear from her is to experience her absolute infectious joy when it comes to jewelry. She is so knowledgeable and she has such a refined taste. She has taken so much time to so carefully curate all of the content that she shares with the world. And taking this course with her, this Instagram course, was truly a beautiful experience. And I choose that word beautiful very intentionally because every single element, all of the visuals of the course were actually truly beautiful. She made everything so visually appealing. It was a long and intensive course, and every single day it felt engaging because it was more beautiful. It was easier to engage with. Kudos to her. That was a lot of effort to put the course together. And so honestly, I am almost like jealous of anyone who gets to go through it again for the first time because it was such an enjoyable experience. She dives into all of the nitty-gritty as to actually how to captivate an audience on Instagram and then convert them into sales. Because that's the key here is the financial prosperity element is I want to eventually reach a place where I have financial prosperity from my business. And Instagram is definitely a means to be able to do that. And so she has taken all of the information that she has learned over years and years of actually being able to successfully convert attention into dollars. She has now made it accessible for people like you and I. Again, she is a friend of the podcast and she created the code PTT10 for 10% off for anyone who wants to take the course and get 10% off for listening to this podcast and being a part of this community. She is so responsive, and getting the opportunity to learn from her was truly a gift that elevated the next few phases of my vision. So I'm grateful to her, and I hope you get the opportunity to experience the same delight that I have gotten to experience. There has never been a time in my life where I have been as confident as I am right now. And I feel confident because I feel capable, because I understand things now that I never did before in my life. And that is so powerful when you think of the creative cycle. You want to feel energized and excited and happy doing the thing that you love doing. I hope you guys enjoyed this brief episode of Pass the Torch Legacies in Jewelry. Again, I'm super happy to have my podcast equipment finally set up so that when I have these moments of deep reflection, I can come on and soundboard them. And you guys have been so incredible to soundboard back to me that we continue to create this community of people who value the novelty of passing on information. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next episode. Cheers.